Welcome. This is the Death of a Dream podcast, in case you haven't been here before. That's what you're in for. We're going to go ahead and ground ourselves in our greatness. And I think today I'll take an opportunity to ground myself in the greatness of the women who have found this podcast and have made changes in their lives because of this. And for such a long time, I showed up every day never knowing if this work was ever going to find anyone, if anyone was ever going to find any worth in it, if what I was saying actually could help change people's lives and their perspectives, or if I was just a crazy person with a whole lot of ego and no real reason for doing this except for wanting to get fame and fortune. And that's not what it's about. It's about the women who found this, who found themselves in my story somewhere and started standing back up for themselves and started putting themselves back on the table as worthy and beautiful and magical. And it's not about me. It's about you. And I just want to be the person who poses the question for you before you get to the point where you question everything, because it's coming, right? You can be on this path and you can believe that it's perfect and perfectly designed for you and perfectly magical and exactly what you were hoping for in life. And all of a sudden life can just hand you this great realization that it's nowhere close to where you want it to be. And I think so many times we don't pose that question. We don't ask. We just go. And somewhere on the other side of success, you find that this isn't how it was supposed to be written according to you. And I found myself in that place where I realized I wasn't using any of my skills. I was using skills that were built by someone else, but I wasn't using any of the skills that were given to me in life. I wasn't doing anything that I was passionate about. It was just fine, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And so today we're going to ground ourselves in the greatness of some of the listeners who have found themselves along this path, and they found themselves in different places, right? Maybe in weeks span of time, maybe in days of listening, maybe in one day of listening. And guess what? That's enough. I don't come on here every day thinking that you're going to need this every day for the rest of your life. And maybe you will, but maybe you won't. Maybe you only needed this for 1 minute of what I was saying, and you don't need it again. And I'm still willing to put in this work if that 1 minute served you. Because sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes you got everything you needed from everywhere else and you just need one final push. And maybe I can be that. Or maybe I'm the person who started you on this path for no other reason other than, oh, yeah, this girl I know of this girl I know of this girl I know does this podcast, right? And maybe I just posed the question enough for you to not find what you need with me, but to find it with someone else. And even that would be enough. And so I want to shout out to the women, and I won't use their names, but the women that I know who have changed their lives because of this. And I don't know if they still listen, but I've heard from them at least one time, and I know that it's helped in some way to reshape, to reframe their thoughts, their train of mind somewhere along the path. And so one of our beautiful listeners is actually starting to question things on a major level and really wonder what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And I think for the longest time, this person had shifted in their life to just thinking that they needed the rest of the picture and that they shouldn't even question the one part of the picture that was actually okay. And I think it's okay to question all of it because all of the pictures play together perfectly, right? And sometimes you're gonna motion into different seasons of life, right? Where you're focused on one thing over the other. But those pictures are never going to not go together. They always seamlessly flow together. All of the different hats that you wear. And so I think that that's the true danger, is that they are seamless, that they do flow together hand in hand. And I know one of my listeners is questioning all of those things and really starting to champion their own life and not just as it's written right in front of them, right? To start standing up for themselves. I had another listener who thought that they were just going to go down this path and this was going to be enough. And she realized that she has always wanted to lead and do different things. And she had kind of just gotten into this place where she just settled and she decided that she was going to grow these other things and put that dream away, that wasn't really meant for her. And she may have gone back to school, and if she didn't, she's venturing down this new path regardless. And I think those are the things. Those are the reasons to keep doing this. I have never sat here and thought that I was going to be the answer for everyone, the answer for anyone. But I can't stop knowing that even two people have gotten what they needed, right? And knowing that there are more. Knowing that there are more looking for guidance, knowing that there are more hoping that this will help them in some way. And we're looking to expand and we're looking to grow, and it starts with one person, right? And that one person is you. And the next person, and the next person, and the next person. And that's not really for you to decide, right? You don't get to decide who needs it, who gets it, who takes this and runs with it, who takes this message and changes the world. I don't get to decide that. Right? I don't get to decide if you're going to listen for 2 years, 1 day, 1 minute. But greatness lies in any ability to make a change. Whether that's being a champion of your life and growing it to the ends that you desire, but I think more than anything, it's just about you putting yourself back on the table, right? And those two listeners, more than anything, more than if they go and do glorious things or not, the most important part of their journey is that they put themselves back in their own story. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about you living life on your terms, not someone else's. And there's two examples of people who took this message somewhere along the road, somewhere, and started to actually show up for themselves, to actually write themselves back into their own story, to actually call greatness back into their lives, back into themselves, back into their reality. That's what this is about. So that's my great thing. There are people who need this message, who want this message, who keep me going. And they are doing great things. And not just great things for the world, because they will be. More than anything, the greatest impact you can have on this world is you showing up. Right? So take time today to celebrate your own great thing. Love yourself enough to say it, to own it, and to keep growing it. So let's dive in. Okay. You're listening to someone who's been feeling a little bit lost and a little bit sad, and I think so, and I've felt so happy and so alive and so aligned. And then when you're forced to come back to real life, and honestly, I'm living my dream life, so this is what seems crazier, is that constant realization that you might not be enough, that you might not be good at the one thing that you want to do. Right? And I'm only laughing because I don't think it matters. What is someone to do when they're kind of good at everything and not great at anything? The only thing I've ever been good at, almost great at, has been talking. That's not a thing. Or is it? Right? I've always been good at this. And I guess I got tired of waiting for someone else to create a platform that makes sense with my gift, right? And so I wasn't getting a microphone, and so I had to give myself one. Thank you, Amazon. What a great gift. Right? So I've been feeling kind of sorry for myself. Oh, poor thing. She has these thoughts of grandeur that aren't real, that can't happen. Right? And here I am talking to all of you every single morning saying, no, you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. Just keep going, keep going. You got this. You know what? You got this. You thought you didn't have it? No, I got you. We got this. You want to go together? Let's go. And this is what I can tell you. As someone who's venturing into what shall be known as the growth period, the loneliest period that I've experienced so far, is that no one can prepare you for that. There's not a book, there's not a podcast, there's nothing. And I hope someday this podcast will be that for someone. But this is why I wanted to tell this story in real time. Because right now, feeling like you don't exist, feeling like you're not important, feeling unsure about everything that you're doing, that's the low part of chasing your dream. And yet, you know, right? Because you've said it, because you've written it more times than you even like to think about. You've thought it more times than you even like to think about. You've dreamt it. You can see it. You can see it so clearly it makes you sick sometimes. And so you can't give up. But this is what I'm telling you. It's low and it's lonely. And you think that you've built up this beautiful circle of people who will support you, and it's not true. They aren't always going to be there, right? They aren't always going to be there to catch you or to build you back up or to keep you going when you're low, because you don't have that. You aren't sharing that side, right? And it's all great. All the growth and all the people who are listening now who never were. That's so amazing. But what if this turns into the same thing the last thing did? It can't. It won't. You know how it won't? You know why it won't? Because this is actually something you wrote down this time. This is actually something you want to happen. And when you get there, do you keep building and growing? Yes, you absolutely do. Right? It's going to change. It's going to take shape. It's going to change. It's going to move. But it's going to move with you, not away from you, like everything else. Right? And I'm in the portion of what I'm hoping will be a wonderful, beautiful story. And even if it isn't, what if this story has to happen so yours can? Right? What if I have to go through this low point so you can get out of yours? What if I have to show up and tell you to keep going even when nothing is going your way? What if that's my role in all of this? What if one person listens and they move forward, and then they go cure cancer, or they write a blog, or they interview for that job, or they write that book, or they sing that song? What happens? What if you're the one spark that lights off a million fireworks, but you stopped? What if what you brought into this world could do the work of a million and you never knew? That's not for us to decide. And so I've asked myself, well, whoa, my microphone's falling. What are you doing? What do you want to do? What do you want to be about? Where are you going? And I know exactly where I'm going. I know. Right? I know because I wrote it. This is the crazier thing. I wrote this up on my board this winter, actually. I wrote these things because I was like, you know what? You got to have a core. You got to have principles. You got to have a reason for going. And so I wrote these things in December, and it finally made me feel grounded in what we were doing and what we were going after. And I knew what my dreams were, but I didn't know what my company's dreams were, right? Nothing. That's the all-inclusive company of what we're building here. And so this is what Nothing is about. to want to know. And I'm hoping that me reading this will help you understand if this is something you want to be a part of or not, but also understand what I'm about and what I'm going after, and help me out of this low point. Jeez Louise. Boo-hoo. Now you get to live your dream and now you're going to give up? For shame. For shame. I will never stop fighting. And I cannot promise you that I have not had some low points and that I will not continue to have those. But I can promise you that if I'm the person you need to prove that this is possible, I will be that person for you. And not just this, right? Not just a podcast or a book or whatever I'm talking about. That you're possible. That you can show up one day, write your dreams down, start working on them, and start making them happen. That's what this is about. That's what I'm proving here. That's what the death of a dream is. It is a proof exercise. It is an experiment with whether or not you can just write dreams down and start taking one step forward at a time and start making them happen. You know what I talked about yesterday? Like, hey, we're already pretty close, right? We already did one big portion of that dream. So come on. What is my issue? Let's go. Let's freaking go. Right? So here is what Nothing is about. Boom, you ready? You don't have to write these down. Nothing is building a life-changing empire to empower people to live life on their terms. That's what we're about. That's it. Right? And here are our principles. Who am I? Be great. I exude greatness in my daily life. Who knew that greatness would be on there? Follow joy. I walk a path of happiness and find joy in every situation. And I think that one is a challenge for a lot of people, even me, because here I've been sitting like just wishing that there would be some glimmer, right? But I think there's joy here too, because maybe actually bringing the lows of this experience help someone out of their own lows someday. Maybe not today, right? But man, I thought you just walk into your dream and you're like, oh, hey, we've arrived. Welcome. Hey, and it was all going to feel so great. And there are so many challenges along that way. One of the main ones, I think, is just this rebuilding of what your worth looks like. Right? Because it doesn't look like emails every day, and it doesn't look like being needed and in such high demand that you can't think straight anymore. That one is hard. Okay. The third pillar, I don't know that I want to call them that. That's kind of obnoxious. The third thing, that's not right either. We'll figure it out. Acknowledge worth. I see the worth in all that I am and everyone I encounter. Be fierce. I do not doubt myself or my path, no matter where it leads me. Right? And I think that one, like your path is going to take you down so many different roads. So many roads that you couldn't have even dreamt if you tried. Right? Really closed your eyes and thought it into existence. You couldn't. But every path is so beautifully crafted into your story. Even the painful ones have a place. Align. I am walking a journey that speaks to my soul. And I think that one is so important because So many of us, and maybe less people do. I was thinking about this yesterday. What if nobody needs saved? What if everybody's just walking down the perfect path that they wanted and you just weren't? Right? What if nobody needs you? You know what? That's okay too. If everybody is walking down their perfect path, then the world already exists that I want to live in. Right? But I know there's worth somewhere here. I know that there's at least one person who isn't, or who started to walk down this path and they feel lost like I do right now. Right? I know that there are people out there who need to experience this right along with me. Maybe not today, but maybe in a year when they're finally in their journey, on their path, and they're feeling like, gosh, I feel so great that I got here and so grateful, and yet I feel so lost. Right? And reading those things just helped reground me so much. And now I'm going to read you what we're doing. And we're going to have to do those quick because we don't got a lot of time. But this is what we're doing. We're increasing our reach. Right? We're growing our revenue to start actually making money doing this. And that seems like such a crazy thing, but that is so possible. And I think I've told myself for a long time that that's not possible, just speaking, just doing these things, but I know that it is. So we're growing the revenue. We're people focused, right? I want to engage with everyone that listens, everyone that emails me, everyone that reaches out. I want to be that contact. I want to help. We're creating engaging content. Wow, that's a deep one. Right? So not just a podcast, because that is limited. Trust me, very limited. Not a lot of people are listening to podcasts yet. They will be, right? So how do we keep growing? How do we keep expanding? How do we take this message further so that not just people who listen to podcasts can hear this, people who watch YouTube can experience this, people who are on TikTok can experience this. Anyone, anywhere can start to live life on their terms, to change their mindset, to turn it around for themselves. We are expanding and creating content that engages. And we're growing outlets. 3 new channels to connect with people by 2021. We have grown. We've already done that. And we're going to do more. And do you know why? Not because I want to get famous. Because I know that there's someone lost. I know there's someone that felt exactly how I felt. And I will go to the ends of the earth to connect with them so they don't have to go through it alone. Because I did. And it was hard. And I had to keep pushing myself, even though no one was telling me to push. Even though no one was telling me that I should do it. And so we have to keep growing, and we have to keep expanding, and we have to keep sharing this message because someone needs it. One person needs it. And that's the only thing I've ever been worried about. So we're on the low, but we are building back up. And you know what? We're growing together. I can't come on here and fake how I'm feeling today. Right? This is where I'm at, and I'm trying to rebuild and help us get there together. So, as always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful, What are you going to do? Change the world. Let's go ahead and record intro. Hey, so great to have you here. Such an amazing experience and moment in time. Today, we are kind of navigating some lows that I've been experiencing lately, and, right along with the highs, right? I just had such a life-changing experience, and yet in all of that, there's still this point where you're going to have lows too. And so we're diving into that today, and I'm talking through what I'm experiencing and why I have to get past it, and just the honest approach to this story. Because I wish that I could tell you that you jump into your dream life and it's all perfect from there. It's not. But I've always committed to being real and to showing you what this is going to look like in real time. And my hope is that this helps someone who is experiencing that low too, to rise up from it and to keep going, because I'm not going to stop regardless of this moment, of this low moment. Boo-hoo, let's go, right? I'm not going to stop, because now you're all here. And what do you do if I succumb to those dark moments? Can't. Gotta keep moving. So that's what we're talking about today. Wow, it gets real deep, real fast. But I want you to keep going today. Whatever it is. Even if it's just writing in your journal, even if it's just going on a walk, I want you to keep moving forward. And understand that movement is key. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be far, but just keep moving. Let's dive in.